Well, hello, my name's Penny. I live in the southeast of England with my husband Pete and my 4 chickens, and you're most welcome. Thank you very much for joining. This week it's about cats and dogs. A fascinating fact about Cat 2, a little film at the end of Pete and I. We went out for an evening walk just round our block, just down to the sea and round through the farm and back home. But it's different, isn't it? It's the same walk, but what a difference it is through the seasons. So it was beautiful at 7 o'clock. And what else was I planning on doing? I'm going to show you George the dog that I've knitted. Well, everybody that has seen them, I've knitted Holly and Tilly and George. I'm looking at them. They sit on the chair there. My grandson and his wife and my mum came round for the day yesterday, and of course they just fell in love with them. Tiggs, my granddaughter-in-law, she said, I love them. But we did agree. I said, there's something wrong with Holly. And what it is that I just love her prickles, and I don't want to cover them up with a dress. So we took the dress off, and I do think Holly looks lovely without her dress. So I'm going to have a spare dress, but I've also decided, not at the minute, I'm going to give my hands a rest, but I've also decided to knit the pig. If you haven't seen what I'm talking about, I'll show you the book. Here's the book, Knitted Animal Friends, and I know a lot of you have knitted the animals, and I've just finished George. I'll show you who I want to do next. Yeah, we can't not do her, if you see what I mean, because she's so gorgeous. I want to do Maisie the pig. Can you see her? I have got a pink dress that I knitted for Holly. So she might have the pink dress, I'll see, and then just have a little cardie over the top. I think I might do that for the time being. We'll see. But Holly does look lovely with just prickles. I mean, she's adorned with them, and I've put a different brooch on her, and she's happy. She's feeling a little bit like that, but we'll see. You see, you enter this realm of make-believe with these animals, and it happened to us all. They were sitting in there with us, with, the company we had yesterday, and they did come to life, and so it's not just me that goes like that. It's not just me. We all love them. George is a character on his own, and this is what I'm learning. I made George a lot easier than Tilly. I'm worried about Tilly. Oh, am I doing it right? Am I not doing it right? It's just a question of one stitch at a time. I know one viewer said she's new to knitting. She'd love to knit them. Have a go. It's just knit and purl. And if you can knit and purl, and the patterns are written so beautifully, and she has a video at the back of the book, a little website where to go, and she shows you how to do every stitch. And your ones will look different to my ones. That's what I like about it. Although I've knitted it to the pattern, there's something about it that you create this, well, do we call it a toy? It isn't really a toy. We did talk about that, the family, yesterday. We said if we've got an older child that would treasure it, then, but if you give it, my little one's great-granddaughter's 2.5, and yeah, but Tig said, I think, if they're older, they would want to undress them and play with them nicely and keep them for the future. That's where the word heirloom comes in, because she does say creates beautiful heirloom, and you can see that they're ones to sit on the end of the bed, but very much ones to have a chat to, because, well, we sat here, we've just discovered, Pete and I, Downton Abbey on Netflix. Very well written. I know a lot of people have been watching it. It started in 2010, but we've just found it, so we've watched the whole flipping lot, all the series, every single one. We finished it last night. And the animals, they sit on the back of the chair, and I said to Pete, look, and it did look like they were all watching, That's enough about that. I'll go and get him. So Holly hasn't got a dress on, but her prickles are just so they're lovely. And Tilly hasn't changed. She's got her own clothes back on. And George the dog, I'll get them. So if this is your first time of seeing me, I'll show you Tilly, although she's been on several episodes. Her little tail comes through her dress. She's got French knickers, and Tix loved her French knickers. Yes, little pretty dress, a carrot cardie. Her ears do stand up when she sits up, when she's being good, and a little bag. So I showed you her for a few episodes. And then I've got Holly, but you see, we love her prickles. We want them to be on show. I've got to just shorten that bag. It's a bit big for her, but her prickles are so gorgeous. Whoopsie. And she's got shoes, which I think suits her. But I think she looks lovely. Just looking at her prickles, they suit her. She's a little hedgehog scrubbling along. So she's got her dress on the side at the minute. She might give it to the pig, we'll see, when the pig's made. I think she looks lovely. But there's French knickers here, there's dresses if she fancies it. And I've just put a little brooch on that is beautifully made. It's intricately made. We bought it in Italy and it suits her. So that's our Holly at the minute. And then I've finished George. Here he is. He's a dapper little guy. He's got a little tail. He's got room in his trousers. Yeah, room in his trousers for his tail. Black soles. Little scarf. And here he is. Aren't you? So they all sit together, and I think the pig will join the group and be very happy. So that's enough of them. Well, it's not enough of them. We all love them, and people that are visiting love them too. So they are beautiful. So I wanted to talk to you about my own dog. Yeah, this is George the dog, obviously, black and white. And it made me think of my dog. Oh, he has got a patch, look. He has got a patch. Well, we had a Dalmatian, and we bought him shortly after we were married. And really, it was the biggest mistake of our lives because he was such a bounder. I found it hard, but we all loved him. In fact, we called him... We named him Wellington, but he got shortened to Sweetie Boot because he was such a sweetheart. He used to run upstairs to the bathroom and get the toilet roll and run down to the end of the garden with it. He was 3 months old here. This photo tells me on the back, I've written it, 3 months old. As I say, we called him Sweetie Boot because he had such a lovely nature. Here he is, aged 2 on Dartmoor. We spent a lot of time on Dartmoor. Living in London, it was about 4 hours for us to drive there. But Pete's mum and dad lived there. So we were always visiting with baby. And so here he is at 2. Here he is again. He was such a pickle. We used to bring him down here where we live now. Oh, he was so naughty. He used to run up to people's, where they were sitting and eat their sandwiches before I used to call out, please put your sandwiches away. He was worse than the seagulls. Oh, he would food. Well, I took him to the vet once and I said, this dog will not stop eating. And they just looked and said, we've got one. Well, I've got 2, the vet said, 2 Dalmatians. He knows how to open the fridge. So he just said it's the breed. Oh, I can remember dishing the dinner up, and before I'd even turn round to get the plates and put them on the table, he jumped up on the side and scoffed the lot off the plate. Oh, it wasn't easy having Boo. However, we went into a pet shop one day, and we went in for some dog meat, and we got our tins of dog meat, but there was a cage of cats, and this cat was clinging onto the side of the cage. Wow! Clinging, absolutely. Well, Pete said, that cat's not going to let us leave here without it. We didn't want a cat. But it was just, and they looked so poorly. So the lady said to us, you can have that cat if you like. I said, can we? So we took it. Half Siamese it was. And then when we went to get her out the cage, there, just laying in the bottom of this cage, was this little tiny black scrap of a thing. And I said, oh, can I have that one too? Oh, if you like, she said. So we took them, put them in the back of the car, and we drove straight to the RSPCA. It was in Finsbury Park. It was quite a long drive. We just drove straight there. And he said, I can put them down if you like. They're 3 weeks old. They've been fed on mince and water. The lady told us that. That's what she fed them, mince and water. They were 3 weeks old. And, should have been with their mother. So he said, I can put them down if you like. I said, oh, no. If you feel that's the best for them. But I said, do give me a chance. He said, all right. He said, this one, just nurture it. But this one, and he gave it an injection, it was swollen up, the little one that was at the bottom. It was absolutely swollen up, his little tummy. And when we got home, there was a stone about that big that had passed. How it did, and then I had to wrap it round in a towel, and it was on my shoulder like that for about three days. 3 days. Anyway, she pulled through. They were little scraps of things. So I managed to find some photos. You can see how they were really, that was when they were, we'd had them quite a while by the time they were like that. They were always together because, and here they are, always together. I wish the date was on it. And they used to sleep in my laundry basket. So we had them for 21 years. They lasted well. But the point of me telling you about Sweetie Boot was he was the one that really rescued them because they laid down together in their little box and he just licked them. They were round the fire and he just with his tongue. And he was like their mother. He absolutely loved them. And I think it was his tender care and his love that brought them round. So instead of them being, well, he was Sweetie Boot, but we used to call him the RSPCA inspector because he just loved other animals, other dogs. He was such a friendly guy. Well, we had him for 11 and a half years. And he always moaned about him. For 11 years, he moaned about him. But then when we had to have him put to sleep, he got a tumour. And it took Pete quite a long time to get over it, as it does, But there we are. So that's our dog, Sweetie Boot. And that's the 2 cats we had for 21 years. That's a jolly long time, isn't it? But after that, I didn't want any more pets. And then I found the picture that I was looking for last week. I told you the fascinating fact about the sea cucumber, and I found the photograph. A bit late, I know, but I thought I'd show you anyway. So, shall we do the fascinating fact now? It's about a cat that lives somewhere unusual. In the heart of an arid desert, during the dark hours of the night, a sand cat emerges from its den and stops. It looks around and listens. Then, crouching low to the ground, the animal quietly begins its trek across the sandy terrain. Suddenly, the sand cat leaps upon its unwary prey, a gerbil. Afterward, the prowl continues through the night, with the sand cat making occasional leaps into the air to catch more prey. If it catches more than it can eat, the sand cat will cover what is left with sand. It returns to its den in the early morning and seldom appears during the day. The acute hearing of sand cat helps them locate their prey, even if it's underground. To locate a mate, the male produces a high-pitched barking sound, and the female's sensitive hearing enables her to hear this call over a long distance. The hairy covering on the sand cat's paws prevents the animal from sinking into the sand and insulates the paws from extreme sand temperatures. The inside surface of each ear is covered with thick white hair, which protects the cat from wind-blown sand. Tracking the sand cat is difficult because the soles of its paws are covered with a dense mat of hair that renders its tracks nearly invisible. Sand cats can survive by living off the water they obtain from their prey. The sand of the Karakum Desert can reach 176 degrees Fahrenheit or 80 degrees centigrade. At other times, the air temperature can drop to as low as minus 13 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 25 degrees centigrade. So that's information about the sand cat living in the Arabian desert. Really extreme conditions, but managing nevertheless. All that fur, the little fur in the ears and on the paws, helping it out. So I think now it's time for our little walk round the block, and I'll see you next time. So we say goodbye from him and goodbye from me. Cheerio. Enjoy the film.
Almost gone.
Come down any moment.
Could be. Well,